Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Isaiah chapter 43, verses 1 through 3. Thus saith Yahweh that created thee, O Yaakov, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For I am Yahweh your Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, No Trouble at the River.
Trouble The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on the Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Latonia, Georgia. We're going to get into a few things about honoring Yahweh, our Elohim. My elder had put together the things of the oracles. These are the very things that my teacher read. That's why we read them. And those very oracles, there are instructions for how we should approach onto things. Even when it comes down to be careful in the house of Elohim to make sure that you don't offer the sacrifice of fools. Consider that the angel, we don't really understand, because so many people have gatherings and anybody with a webcam can have a broadcast. But when it comes down to sanctifying a room, meaning that we're going to go through all of the things that we can, that we are able to do to try and make that spiritually acceptable, and then we're going to invite the angel to come in and sup with us and us with him. When we understand what that means we have to carry ourselves a certain way, and that is also something that is honoring our Elohim. Why? Because we went out of our way to do some things. But don't think because you can go on the internet and go past a whole lot of other places, the things that you don't see, the people, like you guys are here. All right. You're physically here. So you understand that at a certain point, you can't even walk in this room. You understand that the brother has to pray in here. He has to light the incense. He has to burn the oil. He has to do those things before you can come in this door. Other people who are watching this have no idea that you're standing outside the door. They have no idea about what sanctifying a room means. This is how then we can come and take some things for granted that, you know, other individuals are watching. So, you know, they just think, okay, they gather in a room and, you know, that's it. They don't understand that there's a process to that. See, honoring Elohim means you're going to come outside of your comfort zone. You're going to come outside of what is pleasing to you right now to honor him. And it is most definitely out of our way. We could have 4 or 5 times the number of people here. And people have told me going along the years, if you just relax some of that stuff that you do for honor, you could have a sprawling congregation, 4 or 5 buildings. No, I'm all right. I'd rather honor him with 1 or 2 people than to get 50,000 views every week and we setting ourselves up to visit Satan. These people who went through these things in this book to honor Elohim, they went out of their way. So we need to understand some things about how he operates. Now, Yahweh is a covenant Elohim, and he operates from within the covenants that he makes. His commandments are the outlined base for his covenant with Israel and subsequently to the world. A covenant is an agreement between 2 or more parties. A covenant conveys the anticipated gains and losses depending on if the covenant is kept or if the covenant is broken. All right, the title of today's sermon is Honoring Those That Honor Him. And we're going to begin in Exodus chapter 19, and we're going to read verses 1 through 11. Exodus chapter 19 and verses 1 through 11. There's enough seats in here, man. Put one down and sit down. Get all over there where y'all was just singing at. Put some chairs over there.
Exodus chapter 19 and verse 1.
I got a thump upside the head for every last one of you little ones that go to sleep. So when you feel that pop, that means I just pointed at somebody. Thump him. So we're going to take care of that business now. Go ahead, sir.
Exodus chapter 19 and verse 1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moshe went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation.
Right. From the beginning, he's already on the next level. He's already on the next level about a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Yet, we were given a tribe of priests. Yahweh was already on, when we on level 1, he already on level 4. We think that he decided later on. It was always in the plan. It just has to begin at some place and then work its way. But I also want you to pay attention to verse 5, and it says, for all the earth is mine. Now, understand something. Why you think every time you turn on the news, somebody trying to go and discover another planet? They know they don't want to deal with the wrath of Yahweh. So they said, look, he said the earth was here. So if we go to Mars, we good. We can go there, we can set up all kind of sin and debauchery. You know, we just go up there and then we ain't got to worry about him ever again. This is why everybody's so interested in going somewhere else. But when you're a conqueror, after you get through, you know, using all the resources of a place, you got to get up and go somewhere else and go steal their resources. Go ahead.
These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh has spoken we will do. And Moshe returned the words of the people unto Yahweh.
Now, this whole setup, and it's funny that you have people, arguing about the setup, but it was Israel that required that you talk to Elohim. We don't want to talk to him no more. We don't want to see this power. We don't see we don't want to witness any of those things. And it is the first thing that Israel has a problem with. When Yahweh does choose somebody and send that person forth, we have absolutely nothing but bad stuff to say. But it was our design. It was our design that asked for it. No. Talk to him. Scare the giblets out of him. And then let him talk to us. But we don't like for you to show up at our place. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, lo, I come unto you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever. And Moshe told the words of the people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
All right, so this sanctifying, he's showing Israel how to even begin in honor. Before you present yourself before me, sanctify yourself. Go ahead.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day, Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
All right, let's go to Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your El, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourselves to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the lawlessness of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
All right, so the adversary, the devil, understands all of these things. So what he has to do is find creative ways to get you to do this without you knowing that you're doing it. Because what he needs to do is to cause a schism between the relationship that you have with your Elohim. So he's got to either pretend to be your friend. He either has to pretend that Elohim must be doing something wrong, and he's told you something wrong, because he said you shall not touch all of these things. You will not surely die. Yahweh must be lying. So he finds these creative ways. This is why I tell you to be careful how you hear what you hear. When people are coming up and they're talking to you, they're trying to get into your ear. It's not that particular person talking. It is the spirit that they have entertained. And that spirit feels comfortable with them. They need to figure out why that spirit is so comfortable with them. Why does the lion spirit make its abode with you? Somehow it knew you wouldn't fight him. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Love me and keep. See, we hear all of that stuff about how God is love. It says love me and keep. See, there's love and then there's do. See, a lot of people talk love. But then when certain things come up, they're not there. They say they love, but you just can't love in word and not love in deed. See, this is that part you have a hard time explaining to, your young adults about, because they got those feelings. See, I'm in love. I know this is the one. The one? You ain't had zero yet. How the hell you know that's the one?
I know this one. I know how it feels. This is love.
So you're going to find that there's love in word, and then there's love when the rent due. Then there's love when the light bill comes, and it's a little bit more than was expected. What love at? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
You shall not take the name of Yahweh your El in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Right. Now, we had a question about that, about taking Yahweh's name in vain. Let me tell you something. We took Yahweh's name in vain just by showing up and doing some mess. They said, the people blasphemed his holy name when they said, you mean these the people of Israel? And this what they doing? His name got blasphemed right there. We keep looking for a certain phrase to say that is blasphemy. No, you walk blasphemy. When I went out of town, and everywhere I went, you can tell it got quiet when I walked in the door. And that nobody saw anything except me and my family when we walked through the door. Everything stopped. You can hear conversations would be behind you. You walk in, you pass something. Everything stopped. Now, imagine if me and my family just broke out in a fight right there in that place. What was the honor that Yahweh was going to get then? They weren't going to get no honor. They were going to get blasphemed. They were going to ask me at that point just to make sure. What you are again? Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, they out there acting a fool. Hear them Yahweh people. Yeah, they down here beating the stew out of each other. Right. That's why certain times you got to know, you know what? I may disagree with you, but we're going to disagree somewhere else later. See, we think we got to handle our disagreements everywhere. We all in the parking lot. We all standing right at the neighbor's door. Disagree somewhere else. That's somebody else's honor you taking down, not yours. See, they don't know you, but they know what you are. And that's where the honor is going to get lost. Go ahead.
6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh your El.
And let me tell you something. When folks find out you keep the Sabbath, they can't wait to see you in the store. They can't wait to see you in the store. They'll run all the time. Brother, did you just come out that store? I heard you keep the Sabbath. What you doing in there? My ox broke down, bro. In fact, there go my ox in the parking lot over there on the side of that road. They got jacks in here. And you thought I was just going to sit there and just What you doing? Waiting till the Sabbath over. You out your mind. I'm going to get a jack, and I'm jack up this car and take this towel, and we're going to go home. Don't get it twisted. But the folk can't wait to see you in there. And you'll know when you got to go and see how full of glee they are to just announce that you in the store. You look like one of them Sabbath keepers. What you doing in here? Right. Good.
In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day.
You know, sometimes when folks have indignation with you, you may not even know that they're talking in circles. So, because there's one place in the New Testament where it says, you know, 1 day is as 1,000 years. Then it says, you know, the 6 days right here. Then there are people who believe that the earth is only 6,000 or 7,000 years old. So then when you're talking to people, sometimes people are trying to throw indignation your way, and you may not even know that they're doing it. I was talking to a relative of mine who had some indignation with me, and in his statement, he was going, yeah, you know, in the earth, which is thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old. I didn't even stop it. Man, it might be 1,000,000 years in between day one and day two. That's his time, not ours, idiot. But why would I sit there and have a wall witch with a fool? Why? If I close my eyes, tie my hands back, tie my feet, I'm going to win. Why should I even enter this? This is not even, go get 2 of your professors and maybe we can have a conversation, but you alone? This ain't worth my time. It's not. Why? Who gets out of the 12th grade and go and bully the kindergartners? Who do that? Who does that? And what kind of honor is that? Yeah, you beat them, but they're in the kindergarten, man. You can't act like you accomplished something because you beat them. It's like the little boys in the little league who lie about their age. They be like 16, playing with the 8-year-old, and they look like Randy Moss out there. This dude catching the ball way over here, he's 16. He has motor skills that the 9-year-olds don't have yet. Then he dancing all in the end zone. I mean, he's showing out. Now these 9-year-olds, right? Then we get ready to lead the little league part, and he drive off. Wait. Hey. I thought I saw a mustache. Read, bro.
Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that your days may be long upon the land which Yahweh your El gives you.
I might honor you, but I ain't gonna worship your God. I may honor you, but you gonna respect my house. See, I'm gonna respect your house. That's my honor to you. But you gonna respect my house. That's your honor to me. See, I don't do that stuff in my house that you do in yours. So when you come to my house, you're gonna have to leave your crab legs and your shrimp and your pork. That's not coming in my house. Now see, I honor your house when I come in. I didn't try to throw your crab legs out. That's your house. I just know I'm not eating it. But that's your house. So I have to honor your house when I come there. That's what you eat. I'm gonna leave that alone. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But when I come, when you come to my house, hey, how you doing? Leave your chops. Your chops can't come in here. No, your chops not coming in here. I hope you brought a cooler. Hope you brought a cooler. Because your chops got to be on the side. You see where the mailbox at? Go on the other side. There it is. That's where your chops at. That's where your chops at. Go ahead.
Verse 13. You shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife.
And see, this is our biggest thing. This is why we even get on social media. This is why we do all the stuff that we do. Coveting other people's stuff. We coveting what they drive. We coveting what they wear. We coveting who they date. This is all social media is put out for people to covet. We have a meal. We put on a picture of the damn meal.
Look at these grits. You see these grits? Watch this.
Whoa! Did you see that?
Look at the way this here. Look at the way the cheese just fall in the grits. Look at that. Watch that.
What? Why in the hell everybody need to see you eat your grits? This is the whole thing is set up for us to covet and to create things for other people to covet. Take pictures and spend 2 hours on airbrushing the picture so we can be absolutely amazing on the picture. We look flawless. Then somebody see you and be disappointed as hell. Who the hell is that? I'm Keisha 1214.
No. You Keisha 2719. Yeah, you are definitely not the one I seen in the pictures.
Right. Go ahead, bro.
Nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is your neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
Right. See, this is the thing. We want certain things that come with the honor of being with Elohim, or being in the presence of Elohim. But when that power starts being shown, now we want to remove far off. Because see, the power going to change you. The power is going to affect you. The power is going to do something to you. And we don't want that power, but we want the honor of being in the circle of Elohim. Don't work like that. Go ahead.
And they said unto Moshe, speak you with us, and we will hear. But let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die.
Right. And from that day, all Israel has done was had a problem with everybody who was sent to him. From the point that Yahshua said, look, this is Israel, who stoneth those that are sent to them. This is what Israel do. So when Yahweh, people don't understand, being a prophet, it was a very, very difficult job. Israel has a problem. I can open this book and show you where it says, a man shall not have his brother's wife. Go to a dude who dating his brother's wife and see, don't he try to kill you? And you read him. Now you can show him where it said in the book. He's still going to try to kill you. Imagine being a prophet and the stuff that you saying we can't find in here. You understand how difficult and how your life was on the line being a prophet? And people think that this is just something cool. Being a prophet is one of the most dangerous jobs in it. Being a priest was dangerous enough. You're a priest and a prophet. Oh boy, don't look good. Because understand, now people say, oh, look at him, he's a cult leader. Because you got one thing that you saying that's in the book. Then you got another thing that you saying that can't nobody find nowhere. No, Israel gonna, hey. We have a problem down to the thee. Said the. No, it said thee here, not the. Bro, you serious, bro? You see, bro, you serious? And you gonna try to say that you gonna be a prophet and say some things that we can't find? Man, every prophet's life was on the line every day he spoke to Israel. But now you got people that claim that all you got to do is read and you're a prophet. Go ahead.
That was it.
You finished that?
19.
All right. What I want you to do is go to the next graphic, because when we talk about these things of, these 10 commandments, there's some other things that I want to bring out here. Graphic number 7.
I'll read this.
Yeah.
Thus have I been 20 years in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your cattle, and you have changed my wages 10 times.
All right, go to the next one.
Numbers chapter 14 and verse 22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice.
All right. So as we see, some of those things are a basis that once you get past a certain point, he is then taking his honor back. Go to the next one.
Mark chapter 10 and verse 19. You know the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Defraud not.
Do you know how many commandments are contained in defraud not? See, people say, well, you know what? See this New Testament. See, we get those emails from them, them trolls, and they'll say, stay out of the Old Testament. The New Testament say the same thing we just read in the Old. You know of the commandments. The person said, what shall I do that I might have eternal life? This is Yahshua answering. You know of the commandments. In other words, what you ask me this stupid question for? I read you the law. What it say? You know the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. And we lie even when we're not even getting nothing from it. We lie for no reason at all. Defraud not. There's so many ways of defrauding. honor your father and your mother. So the same things that we read as a basis for the covenant in the Old Testament, Yeshua turns around in the New Testament and verifies the same basis when it comes down to the covenant. So all those people who walking around talking about stay out of the Old Testament, I see the same basis in the New. But somehow they don't see that. And when you're not taught a certain way, you can get to, don't commit adultery. All I got to do is change the definition of adultery.
Well, it's not per se adultery so much as I've been adulted. I mean, it's now we friends with beneficial characteristics.
What? So they can still read adultery, just change the definition of adultery. This is what the game is now. So first they say stay out of the Old Testament, and then when you get in the New, they're just going to alter the definition. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. First Samuel chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 27 through 36.
And there came a man of Elohim unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus says Yahweh, Did I plainly appear unto the house of your father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear the ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of your father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? Wherefore kick you at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honoreth your sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of the children, all the offerings of Israel, my people. Wherefore Yahweh Elohim of Israel says, I said indeed that your house and the house of your father should walk before me forever.
Right, but the covenant was always conditional. Okay? I said that the house of your father should walk before me forever. Go ahead.
But now Yahweh says, Be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor.
For them that honor me will I honor. So I'm taking that promise back. Because I gave conditions when we entered into this covenant. There were conditions when I made this promise. It was conditional upon you doing some things, and you decided not to do those things. Well, you don't get to continue to walk in my honor then. Go ahead.
And they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I'll cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, that there shall not be an old man in your house.
Because you decided not to continue to honor Yahweh. Now he's got to take his honor back. Go ahead.
You know, brother, that's the thing with a promise is you might make a promise and you're held to uphold your end of the promise, but we don't think about the other person and what they've done that can also disannul that promise.
Right.
And you know, the biggest thing is that sometimes you make a promise and Yahweh step in, which is what happened to me when I started learning this word. Then I realized I made a promise I couldn't keep. And I had to say, look, man, I know I made this promise, but I can't keep that promise. When my life has changed and I see some things happening and I can no longer uphold that promise.
Hey, brother, I was coaching Little League, you know, coming into this word. And I had agreed and had already been doing it for a minute. I was up at the Little League park from sun up to sundown on Saturday. And it started to come to you know, my heart and my mind that I know I got to take back this promise. I have now been given direction from my Elohim. I can't keep coming out of here. And it was hard. I tried to walk in both of them. I tried to go to the Sabbath one Sabbath, and then the next Sabbath I'm out at the Little League park. And, you know, my elder tolerated it for a little bit until he jumped off the top rope and let me have it in the middle of the packed hall. Because he knew exactly what I was doing. I'm trying to keep two promises. I made a promise when I was out in the world, and then I come into Yahweh's house and make another promise. So then you got a promise with the devil, and you got a promise with Yahweh, and you trying to figure out which promise you're going to keep. I can tell you which one you're going to keep. But I tell you what, I tell you this, I can't tell you one you're going to keep. I can tell you whichever one you're going to keep, that's your daddy. If you decide you're going to keep the promise of Lucifer, that's your daddy. You decide you're going to keep the promise of Yahweh, that's your daddy. So we get to make that decision. Go ahead.
That there shall not be an old man in your house. Verse 32. And you shall see an enemy in my habitation, and all the wealth which Elohim shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in the house forever. And the man of yours, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume your eyes, and to grieve your heart, and all the increase of your house shall die in the flower of their age. And this shall be a sign unto you, that shall come upon your two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. And I'll raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind. And I'll build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever.
Right. I'm going to raise me up somebody who will maintain my honor. I will be able to honor him because no matter what, he's going to honor me. Even when it gets uncomfortable, he's going to honor me. Even when things get rough, he's going to honor me. Even when he ain't got quite enough money to make it through, he's going to honor me. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left in your house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread.
Now, part of his honor was, he said, you made yourself fat with the chiefest of the offerings. You were able to get all of these things. But because you did not honor me, all that I'm taking away. You ain't getting none of that. So you went from eating, you got to understand something. A priest should never question what he going to eat. Priest shouldn't even be buying groceries. What are you buying groceries for? They got to make offerings. And the priest got to eat them. See, we buy groceries based on, all right, what we got to do is how is this long between a check, and then we want this and we want that. What are you doing that for? Because what happened when a brother come up and, man, I've done such and such and such and such, and here's my offering.
You know what, brother? I'm full. I'm sorry. I hope your singing work out.
What? He couldn't do that. That ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
And shall say, put me, I pray you, into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a piece of bread.
And with all that honor being taken, now he says, you are going to starve. You went from being full because of the offerings of the children of Israel, but because you did not honor me, I am taking away even the very piece of bread that nourishes you. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 18. See, one of those things that really sets us up for failure is once saved, always saved. There's a whole lot of people that are going to wake up pissed off when they realize that was a game. That was a game to get them to give more. There's going to be a whole lot of people upset when they realize that was a game. Because ain't no such thing. He says from the beginning to the end, I will honor those who honor me. So at the point that you turn away, this is why it says, if the sinful man step away from his sin and walk in righteousness, I will accept him. But if the righteous man step away from his righteousness and start sinning, I'm going to reject him. So that whole once saved, always saved doctrine that makes people feel real good, oh, it's going to hurt some real feelings. Jeremiah chapter 18, and let's start this at verse 1.
The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Arise and go to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he wrought a work on the wheels.
That's you on the wheel. Go ahead.
And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter.
This you. You ain't come out right. He had intentions, but he zigged when he should have zagged, and you ain't get formed right. Go ahead.
So he made it again, another vessel.
This is you then getting baptized and being born again and allowing him to mold you again. Go ahead.
That seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, O house of Israel, cannot I do you as the potter?
Right. But you have to decide that you're going to get back on the wheel. What if he made it and it was marred?
And you said, well, this ain't my fault. I was born like this. You know what I'm saying? It's not my fault. Yahweh put me in that house. He knows my mom was crazy, my dad was crazy, and my uncle, he ain't right. He did things. So I'm not right.
Jump back on the wheel. Jump back on the wheel. Let him make you again. Go ahead.
Says Yahweh, Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are you in mine hand, O house of Israel. At what instance I shall speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to pull down and to destroy it. If that nation, against whom I have pronounced, turn from their evil, I'll repent of the evil that I thought to do unto them.
Right. He says, I'll even change my mind if you change your ways. You have the power to change his mind if you change your ways. Are you not a God? You can change a God. How can you not be one? You can change his actions by your actions. Good.
And at what instance I shall speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to build and to plant it. If it do evil in my sight, that it obey not my voice, then I'll repent of the good wherewith I said I would benefit them.
Right. Now, this is the part that somehow don't come out in Sunday morning. They'll tell you about one part of it, about how gracious he is. They won't talk about if it does evil, that it obey not my voice, then I will repent of the good. We just want to read good, and not understand. No, you can make him take that good away. Go ahead.
Now therefore go to, speak to the men of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return you not every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good. And they said, There's no hope. But we will walk after our own devices, and we will everyone do the imagination of his evil heart.
Right. See, after we do something for a while, it becomes a habit. And those habits, after a while, become our character. Go ahead.
Therefore, thus says Yahweh, Ask you now among the heathen, who has heard such things? The virgin of Israel has done a very horrible thing. Will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which comes from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken? Because my people has forgotten me, they have burnt incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths, to walk in the paths in a way not cast up.
All right, so you have to look at some things. Verse 15, because my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to vanity. Now, when we get into this, understanding the whole foundation and basis, you find that the incense was a serious thing. Before we got in the word, incense was just people who read the horoscope and people who look like Erykah Badu and they do stuff like that. That's the folk that we saw with incense. They had that little zodiac chart on the wall and had on a velvet shirt. That's all we know about incense. Yahweh was so serious about his incense, Aaron's sons did it wrong and got burnt up. So we doing the same thing. We offering incense under vanity. People on here burning stuff, talking about they chakras. So what? Your what was? I don't know nothing about no what was. So you can get on. No, that ain't what I burn incense for, boo boo. You go in somebody's house, they got incense burning and candles in there, ain't no lights on. I don't know what's finna be sacrificed up in here. I'm just finna bag right on out. They like, come on in. No, I'm not coming in here. It look like you preparing for an offering, and I think I just walked in fat. No. I think I'm the offering. No, this ain't gonna work out. Go ahead.
Verse 16. To make their land desolate and a perpetual hissing, everyone that passes thereby shall be astonished and wag his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I'll show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. Then said they, come and let us devise devices against Jeremiah.
You see what happened when you're a prophet? See what? Now understand now. This stuff that he's saying, there's no way for them to go and verify that Yahweh said it. You do understand that? I don't think we really grasp that as a thought when we're talking about prophets. This stuff is written afterwards. He does not have anything to write other than what he wrote when Yahweh told him. Go and say this to them. This is a very dangerous job. And look at us in motion. And we still chips off the old block right now. Say something we don't like. You know what? Let us devise evil against him. Go ahead.
For the law shall not perish from the priest, nor the counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come and let us smite him with the tongue.
Right. If you smite him with the tongue, that means they're talking about him. Go ahead.
And let us not give heed to any of his words.
Right. We're going to show that we're going to be disobedient to anything he say. Anything he asks us to do, we're going to do the opposite. Okay. Go ahead.
Give heed to me, O Yahweh, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul.
Look, this is what a servant of Yahweh ends up having to say about the children of Israel. While we're trying to throw out Israelite pep rallies and what tribe we in, this is what we do to those who are sent to us to try and get us to change. This is how we lash out at them. Go ahead.
Remember that I stood before you to speak good for them, and to turn away your wrath from them. Therefore, deliver up their children to the famine.
The last thing you want is the person who done stood up in the presence of Elohim for you to then go back to Elohim. I repent of the good that I prayed for them. Yahweh, I just found out that they were doing this to me. They were doing this against me. They was trying to do this to me. Now, guess what? That person's statement to Yahweh has merit. Why? Because Yahweh like, no. I remember when you said these good things about them. I remember when you prayed that their house might stand, that this might happen. I remember when you prayed for this, that, and the third, that their finances might be together. I remember those prayers. Now I'll hear this one from you. Go ahead.
And pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children.
Now you got to get a guy pretty deep for him to start going now. This a holy man, but there's a point. There's a point. He done went there. Go ahead.
And be widows, and let their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword in battle.
Now do you understand that this is Israel that he's talking about? This is not another nation. See, this is how we want to put everything bad to another nation and everything good is us. Because all we want to do is play that Israelite pet rally. Where Naphtali here? Where be that Judah? Oh, Judah here. What? This what we want? No, this us going against us. This us causing us all these problems. But see, you pay attention to these folks that keep trying to do these Israelite pep rallies. Them same folk gonna be the same folk trying to kill you. So you can keep on your pep rallies, but the folk that gonna try to kill you gonna look just like you. So you can go on keep talking all that Gentile this and this, that. You can go on talk all that all you want to. But if you want to see the person who's gonna come at you, go home and look in the mirror. Because that's what they're gonna look like. Go ahead.
Let a cry be heard from their houses, when you shall bring a troop suddenly upon them. For they have digged a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet, Yahweh, you knoweth all their counsel against me to slay me.
You know all their counsel against me to slay me. You knew it before I knew it. Go ahead.
Forgive not their lawlessness, neither blot out their sin from your sight. But let them be overthrown before you. Deal thus with them in the time of your anger.
Deal thus with them. And that is not a place where we would like to push. This is why it says, obey them that have the rule over you, that they may be able to do that with joy. Let's go to Malachi chapter 1. Even when Eli was wrong, when Hannah came and presented her prayer about producing a child, Eli said, let this woman's petition be granted unto her. He wasn't even in a good standing with Yahweh. But he was at the job. He said, let her prayer be granted unto her, and it was. But Yahweh wasn't all that happy with Eli. But Eli had the job. There's a certain amount of honor that comes with the job. And sometimes people forget that the honor belongs to the job and not to them personally. Then they want to stop doing the job and think that they still have the honor. No. See, when you decide that you are no longer on the police force, they take your badge. You don't get to just still walk around with that at Target. Yeah. Bro, what you doing? Well, you know, I used to be a police officer, right? Bro, you gonna get shot in here. You better stop playing with these people. Everybody in here caring, bro. You better put that thing up. Bro, you got a badge on a Hanes t-shirt. Bro, don't everybody know you not know, bro. You better sit down. You better sit down. Malachi chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, says Yahweh, yet you say, wherein have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob.
Right. Now, Yahweh has to explain how he loved us. See, we operate in the now so much, people forget what you've done for them. People forget, because, what you did was in the past. We are so into now, we absolutely throw away the things that were done for us. Go ahead.
Brother, we so much into it, we made a song about it. What have you done for me lately?
Hey, none of that past stuff matter. None of it. Where you get the pencil to write this song? I bought it. Where you get that studio from? Who bought that mic? Right. But what you do this week? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons.
God is saying he hates somebody? No. God is love.
Right. Go ahead.
And his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom says, we're impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh has indignation forever.
So some people have to keep moving and doing things. Their movement was not forced upon them. Their movement is because every time they set up something, Yahweh is going to run them out because of the things that they've done. Nobody else forced them out. They're just going from place to place. Go ahead.
And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, Yahweh will be magnified from the border of Israel. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor?
Right. Where's the honor that you show to me? Where is it? Go ahead.
And if I be a master, where is my fear? Says Yahweh of hosts unto you, O priests that despise my name. And you say, wherein have we despised your name? You offer polluted bread upon mine altar, and you say, wherein have we polluted you?
Right. See, when you give a lackluster effort, you are showing evil unto your Elohim. What way is his honor? You're supposed to do one thing, and you're doing something else. You're supposed to be at one place, but you at another place. Where is the honor that you're supposed to be showing your Elohim? You honor him by doing the things that you have covenanted to do. You agreed that this is what you were going to do. Then when we get there, you ain't there. He says, if I'm a master, where's my fear? Where's the honor that you're supposed to have with me? But let it be some earthly stuff. We show honor to that. Let our earthly boss invite us to a party. We there with bells on. You hear us jingling in the parking lot. We there with the exact type of clothing. If the boss said, look, this is you know what I'm saying, this is cool casual. We went to the store. We didn't even know what the hell it meant.
Excuse me, how you doing? Look, you working in the store? Excuse me, what the hell is cool casual?
We didn't know what it meant. But we went and got whatever it was that they asked for so that we could have that type of clothing when we showed up. Yet sometimes you got to stop people at the door. Don't you know the dress code?
Well, yes.
Turn around. Turn around. And I'm not going to even anything happen from this point. I'm not talking to nobody else in here. I'm gonna find who was at the door. Find me who was at the door. Come here. How they get in here? That's what I'm talking to. I don't talk to nobody. I don't want to talk to the person. I don't talk to them at all. I'm talking to who's at the door. See, for us to have honor and honor him, there's a certain thing or a certain way we have to do that. It ain't about what I think, what I feel, what you think, what you feel. The outfit might be beautiful. It might be smashing. Look at, if it looked like Yahweh gonna slam us on our head for this, I need to talk to who at the door. Go ahead.
In that you say, the table of Yahweh is contemptible. And if you offer the blind for sacrifice, is it not evil? And if you offer the lame and sick, is it not evil?
But priest, what if it's your wife? Who was at the door? Come here. Who was at the door? But priest, it was your wife. Come here. Who at the door? But priest, we figured maybe you saw her. Damn it, I was busy. I got stuff to do in here. Who was at the door? I was. You and her go home. It won't happen next week. Go ahead.
Offer it now unto your governor. Will he be pleased with you or accept your person? Says Yahweh of hosts. And now I pray you, beseech Elohim that he will be gracious unto us. This has been by your means. Will he regard your persons? Says Yahweh of hosts. Who is there even among you that would shut the doors for naught? Neither do you kindle fire on mine altar for naught. I have no pleasure in you, says Yahweh of hosts. Neither will I accept an offering at your hand.
I will not accept it. Should he just accept it because you offer it? Did you think that it was made righteous because it came from your hands? Go ahead.
For from the rising of the sun even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. And in every place incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering. For my name shall be great among the
My
heathen.
name should be great among the heathen. He still is working to make his name great among Israel. Go ahead.
Says Yahweh of hosts. But you have profaned it, in that you say, the table of Yahweh is polluted, and the fruit thereof, even his meat, is contemptible. You said also, behold, what a weariness is it, and you have snuffed at it, says Yahweh of hosts, and you brought that which was torn, and the lame, and the sick. Thus you brought an offering. Should I accept this of your hand, says Yahweh?
Should I accept this just because you brought it?
Well, this was the best I can do.
But that's nice. When you can do better, come back. But no, take it with you. Go ahead.
But cursed be the deceiver, which has in his flock a male.
Now, all matter of deception is sin. Cursed be the deceiver which has in his flock a male. He has an adequate sacrifice. He just didn't offer it. Okay, he could have shown up on time. He just didn't. He could have been there when requested. He just didn't. He could have done a full amount of labor. He just didn't. Right. Cursed be he, the deceiver, who had in his flock a male. Same thing. You had an opportunity. It was within your power to do the type of job that Elohim asked, and you decided not. Go ahead.
And vows and sacrifices unto the Adonai a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, says Yahweh of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen.
Right. And when you talk about a great king, you are not going to bring a lackluster effort unto a great king and just feel like you are in sport. Let's go to John, Yohanan, chapter 17. Yohanan chapter 17, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
These words spake Yahshua, and lifted up his eyes to heaven, and said, Father, the hour is come. Glorify your Son, that your Son also may glorify you. As you have given him power over all flesh, that he should give eternal life to as many as you have given him.
I think we can touch this air a little bit over here. I'm getting kind of cold up in here now. But what that remote at? Let's bring it up a little bit. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And this is life eternal, that they might know you, the only true El, and Yahshua HaMashiach, whom you have sent. I have glorified you on the earth. I have finished the work which you have given me to do.
Right. I have glorified you on the earth. How? I did that job you gave me. See, there's the one thing about all this talking. See, we think we glorifying something. You know, folks have all these nice saying, oh, we are more than conquerors. Oh, we bless Abba Father, Yah. Oh, we do this. And yeah. Did you finish the job? Those some real cute sayings you got there. Oh, my goodness. You must have a book of Hebrew quotes. That is beautiful. That is marvelous. Did you finish the job? Go ahead.
And now, O Father, glorify you me with your own self with the glory which I had with you before the world was. I have manifested your name unto the men which you gave me out of the world. Yours they were, and you gave them me, and they have kept your word. Now they have known that all things whatsoever you have given me are of you.
Right. This is the same thing that sits on us. All right. Those men were given unto us by way of Yahshua. Those are not men that we have gathered. You heard something that made you show up. Yahweh sent you here. But then we have to also be careful with the things that were given unto us. That's why we give everybody an opportunity. You got an opportunity to either make or break your way. But if it get broke, you broke it. Go ahead.
For I have given unto them the words which you gave me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came out from you, and they have believed that you did send me. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which you have given me, for they are yours. And all mine are yours, and yours are mine, and I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you. Holy Father, keep through your own name those whom you have given me, that they may be one as we are one. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in your name. Those that you gave me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition.
You have to know that there's always a son of perdition amongst us. There's some you're going to lose. I don't care what you going to do. And people may leave, but spirits don't. What does that mean? That means that spirit is hanging at the door waiting for what physical body can it now inhabit. That means it's looking for something that has the same characteristics of the body that's no longer present. Because the spirit is hanging at the door, and that evil spirit said, I got to get in. I got to keep the Sabbath. Now, it knows that it's the devil, that the adversary, the devil knew what it was, but when it was time to make an appearance, Lucifer came also. You got to understand. Them spirits show up and be at the door too, looking for who they going to ride in with. You ever seen the people hanging out at the door of the club? They trying to see who can get them in. That's what them spirits do. They right at the door. Who can I go in with? All I need is a body. Go ahead.
That the scripture might be fulfilled. And now come I to you. And these things I speak in the world, that they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world.
Right. When you speak this word, the world is going to hate you. Now understand, sometimes the world show up and sit right next to you. Go ahead.
I pray not that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through your truth. Your word is truth. As you have sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through the truth. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their words.
So neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word. So then this honor, just like the power that was passed from entity to entity, so does that honor. If we walk in the things that we're supposed to be walking in. Go ahead.
That they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me.
If we are all one, that means we're all walking and on one accord. That means the same spirit is driving us. So if we got 5 or 6 of us are going to do one thing, we are all trying to do the same job. We are working, and then one spirit comes up and says, why don't we go do something else? There's something different about that spirit. Why does that spirit want us to stop doing this? Now we have to start examining, okay, what are the attributes of this spirit? So you might think, hey, if you don't see somebody again, that you are free of that type of situation. No, the spirit just gonna find somebody else to do that. That spirit. Go ahead.
And the glory which you gave me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 8. And for us to be one, that means the things that we are going to be about are going to be a collective of things, not just what we want, what we think, and what we feel. This is what I want to do. This is how I would do it. This is how that. When we are one, we are collectively getting together to figure out what would be the best way for us to honor Elohim in this. And we might all have to sit down and try to figure out what's the best path to that. Deuteronomy chapter 8, and let's start that at verse 1.
All the commandments which I command you this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers. And you shall remember all the way which Yahweh your Elohim led you these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you and to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or no.
Now, pay attention. Elohim led you these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and to prove you. He took stuff away from you. He denied you entry into certain places. He made you go around the long way. Now, here we go with our logic.
Yahweh, it's right there. We can just walk straight over that hill. No. You're not going over the hill. But Yahweh, it's right there over the hill. Yeah, I know. Go around. Go to the right. Now go now make a loop. Now go up this other hill. Now go down this. Yahweh, this don't make no sense. Here we go with our logic. But the path he put you on is to prove you, not for you to get to that destination. We trying to get to the destination. He's trying to prove you. To you, this don't make no sense. To Yahweh, it makes perfect sense. What? It seemed like that other brother, he got here in 4 days. It took me 44 days. Why you sitting me on that long one? Because it took me that long to get your heart right. See, I need your heart to be right when you get here. If your heart already halfway there, then I can give you the short trip. But if you got a lot of other things and we got to pull out, I got to make you do a few figure eights, go up some hills and down some hills. Why? Because if you get to that place where that angel is and you ain't at that point, you're going to die. We don't even see that as his glory and that he's honoring you by holding you back. You're not ready to meet him. No, I'm not ready. You're not ready to meet him. See, a lot of us watch, fighters, and you see a fighter, he 30 and old, but you notice his one fight, he don't pick. He be like, hey man, we're gonna fight him. He train him. You're not ready for him. Now, when I'm 30 and old, you're going to be 30 and 1. You go over there. Come back. Right. Go ahead.
And he humbled you, and suffered you to hunger, and fed you with manna, which you kneweth not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live. Your raiment waxed not old upon you, neither did your foot swell these 40 years. You shall also consider in your heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahweh your El chastens you. Therefore, you shall keep the commandment of Yahweh your Elohim to walk in his ways and to fear him. For Yahweh your Elohim brings you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey.
You understand, if the land has all of these things, then the land itself is sustaining us. We don't even know what that is. We are so far from that you get your own land and your land feeds you. We are under the assumption that, okay, now we got a land, we got a house, now we got to go out somewhere to go get something to pay for the house that we got. Do you understand how beautiful this is? I'm going to give you a land. and the land gonna sustain you in the land. So what you going to work for? Everything you need right here. Where you going? We don't even know what that's like. Go ahead.
You know, brother, you got to look at how far we fell. Our generation, you and I, recently came into this whole pomegranate thing, the superfruit, and learning about it. We're reading about the pomegranate. How old is this book?
Man.
How old is this knowledge?
Boy.
My parents didn't tell me nothing about pomegranates. Nope. So how far was this knowledge removed from us?
But you know what? I had my grandmama would talk about certain things, but there's a point where we have certain things and then they get lost, and then we have to find them again, and they get lost and then found again. We go back and forth down the same thing. When they had these fig trees, when we moved from Pool Creek to Decatur, there was 2 big fig trees in my backyard. My grandmama was so happy. She got up, take me over there. I want to go over there to them fig trees. Boy, my mom cut down them trees over there. They getting on my nerves. All these damn animals over here. They keep eating the figs, and they all around my yard. You at that point, you're dealing with a career woman. There was 2 totally different type of women. My grandmama was the kind who her family was sharecropping. She had to cook for all of those people. My mama, career woman. That fig tree, those 2 humongous fig trees, so big that now there's a 2-car garage covering where the 2 fig trees were. 2 trees now is 2 cars. Okay. It meant nothing. Difference in generation. She working on computers. Now, had she went out there and they said, oh, it's 2 hard drives, that would have been acceptable. Interested in no damn fig tree. Go ahead.
Verse 9. A land wherein you shall eat bread without scarceness. You shall not lack anything in it. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you may dig brass.
You understand how rich this ground is? This is what he's saying, I'm giving you. Why do you think everybody fighting over it? Why do you think they want it so much? He said everything that the whole earth needs is right here with you. You walking on it. Do you understand when you walk on certain things, you know they can tell like where you're from based on the minerals in your body? So when you walk barefoot, we have the minerals of North America. Do you understand with all of these things that we walk barefoot in this land? Do you understand that your body gonna react totally and it totally different? And it ain't doing what it's supposed to do to them other people because they not born now. They ain't supposed to be there either. But when you get back and walk barefoot where you supposed to be, man, your whole body gonna change. The minerals in your body gonna say, man, we've been missing you. What you been? Go ahead.
When you have eaten and art full, then you shall bless Yahweh your Elohim for the good land which he has given you.
This is also when we get in trouble. Go ahead.
Beware that you forget not Yahweh your Elohim in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command you this day.
All right. So when we are in need, we will seek our Elohim. See? The problem is when we get. Go ahead.
At least when you have eaten and are full and have built goodly houses and dwell therein.
Yeah, right when we done got the house decorated exactly how we want it. Go ahead.
And when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied.
We got our money right. We got the house right. We got the cars we wanted. You know what I'm saying? We got the man cave. We got the she shed. We got everything we need. Now it go from Yahweh to Yahoo. Okay. Go ahead.
Then your heart will be lifted up.
There we go. Here we go. This us. Go ahead.
And you forget Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage.
But we don't remember that. See? We remember that at first. That was before we did the renovations. Go ahead.
Who led you through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought you forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers knew not, that he might humble you.
The whole purpose was to humble you. He wasn't doing any of that trying to kill you. None of that. The design was not to harm you. Go ahead.
And that he might prove you, to do you good at your latter end. And you say in your heart, my power and the might of mine hand has gotten me this way.
I went to college. That was me. I'm the one that plays G5G. Ain't no man like a get my man. What you talking about? I did that.
Right. Go ahead.
But you shall remember Yahweh your Elohim, for it is he that gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware unto your fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if you do at all forget Yahweh your Elohim, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahweh destroyed before your face, so shall you perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
Right. You would not be obedient unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. And we are in that danger when we are being fed to the full. You know, you have to look at just even the whole setup of if you steal. You know, it says, you know, thou shalt not steal. But if you steal an ox and you got to give 4 ox for an ox, I couldn't afford 1 ox. That's why I stole the one. Now I got to give 4 of what I didn't have to start with. Make you think about stealing a little bit deeper then, don't it? Wait a minute. So if I get caught, I got to give you 4 of what I didn't have in the first place. And the whole reason I stole it because I couldn't afford it. So what that mean? I'm finna be in debt for how many years? Because I got to work off now. Because I'm not working off to repay the one. I got to work off to repay the increase that I have to add to that. Okay? It ain't like, oh man, I got caught. I got to give back the ox. Oh, no. Now you finna buy a couple ox. When you sit down and really get at some thought, you know, I don't think I want an ox that bad. I don't want an ox that bad. You know what I mean? So, wait a minute. So I want this ox. I covet this ox. I then steal this ox. Now I done bought 5 oxen and I still don't have an ox. You realize if I had worked this hard to start with, I'd have 4 oxen. You know what? Let me stop coveting and go get me an ox. Go read, bro. Man, hey, when you think about it, you like, you know what? Yahweh's genius. Now, how long are you going to be in debt working for that ox that you stole to realize, man, I done walked up this hill backwards. I done did all this to pay back, and I'm still at square one. When all I had to do was do this in the beginning. That means you always had the power in you to get it. It was always there. But he had to punish you to show you that you always had it. You ain't just now developed it. Go ahead, brother.
They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again to me, says Yahweh.
Says Yahweh, you have done all of these things, and keep returning unto me. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes onto the high places, and see where you have not been lain with. In the ways have you sat for them as the Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your whoredoms and with your wickedness. Therefore, the showers have been withholden.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes when stuff happens
And people say, you know, them brothers just wrong. Them brothers just wrong. And as soon as something happens, they want to take back their stuff.
wait a minute, I'm sorry, but you got to read what Yahweh said. He said they were his wife, right? The relationship not working out. He done took the rain. He said the showers have been withholding. His wife didn't act like she was supposed to act. He took the water back. Now, bro, that deep. That somebody don't act right, they go outside.
Well, you know what? What a rain. You know what? We done ticked off Yahweh.
But they think it's strange when something happens.
And brother said, you know what? You gonna mistreat me after I did? Give me my car key. Said, brother, wrong.
I didn't take the water. Read.
And there has been no latter rain, and you have a whore's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed.
I didn't take the rain. Jump to verse 6.
Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Uzziah the king, have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She's gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree, and there has played the harlot. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn you unto me. But she returned not, and her treacherous sister Yehudah saw it. And I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away, and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Yehudah fared not, but went and played the harlot also. And it came to pass, through the lightness of her whoredom, that she defiled the land, and committed adultery with stones and with stock.
Right. These are all these other gods that we worship between the stone. We know it's Islam. The stock is a piece of wood. That's Christianity because their symbol is the cross. We have then transgressed the marital covenant by these other gods whom we decide to partake in. Go ahead.
And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Yehudah has not turned on to me with her whole heart, but feignedly, says Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto me, the backsliding Israel has justified herself more than treacherous Yehudah. Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, return you backsliding Israel, says Yahweh, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you. For I am merciful, says Yahweh, and I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge your lawlessness, that you have transgressed against Yahweh your El, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, says Yahweh.
The first step, only acknowledge your lawlessness, that you have transgressed against Yahweh your Elohim. That is the first step in your repentance. And it is the thing that we fight the most. We don't want to acknowledge anything. We will even accept punishment without acknowledging that we did whatever it was to get the punishment. Just acknowledge what you've done. Why is he asking for that? That's step number one in repentance. How do we know that you're not going to do it again? Do you even understand what it is that you've done? This is why when your mama used to whoop you, there was some talking going on. It just seemed like she was just mean and evil.
Why are you talking to me? I'm real stressed right now. You keep asking me questions and asking me to think about things, and then you keep hitting me with that thing. Why was you down there? What? You're going to ask me something, and then when I get out of the house, you hit me. What's wrong with you, woman?
She need to make sure that you understand why you getting a whooping. Otherwise, you will do the same thing again. There was a method to it. She wasn't just like this little psychotic little bitty woman.
How many of your friends did it? It was fucked up.
You need to know. I don't care how many of them do it. You better not do it. It was a reason for that. Yahweh is whooping us. And he talking. And he making you answer back. Tell me what you did. You already know. Tell me what you did. You already know out there. You know, I went down there at 3 o'clock. I went down there. Okay. All right. Right. Go ahead.
That was it.
That was it. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 23. He says you have to loathe your own selves. See? You have to know that, okay, what I did was incorrect. You got to know that. The person that's whooping you already know that. Okay? The whooping ain't for them to know. When Yahweh asked the question, where is your brother? The question was rhetorical. Do you know what you've done to your brother? I know not, am I my brother's keeper? Your brother's blood cries out from the ground. Nobody asked. But he wanted to make him understand what he has done. Go ahead, bro.
The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were 2 women, the daughters of one mother, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. And the names of them were Aholah the elder, and Aholibah her sister. And they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters. Thus were their names. Samaria is Aholah, and Jerusalem Aholibah. And Aholah played the harlot when she was mine, and she doted on her lovers, on the Assyrians her neighbors, which were clothed with blue, captains and rulers, all of them desirable young men, horsemen riding upon horses.
Right. So then what we do is we go off to get all of this education. And while we're getting educated, we're also getting indoctrinated, and we're picking up all of these other ways. And we're starting to desire them. Oh, I found out in Spain they do this, such and such and such. Ooh, I went and read this book and it said such and such. All right. All right. Be careful where you put that. Go ahead.
Thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all them that were the chosen men of Assyria, and with all on whom she doted, with all their idols she defiled herself. Neither left she her whoredoms brought from Egypt, for in her youth they lay with her, and they bruised the breast of her virginity, and poured their whoredom upon her. Wherefore I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers.
I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers. Yahweh is something deep. You keep paying too much attention to something and dealing with it the wrong way. All right, I tell you what's going on over there. And I'm about to show you what that is that you keep reckless eyeballing. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Because you think the grass is greener over there. That's astroturf. That ain't even grass. When you fall and it burn your whole left side of your body, you're gonna realize, oh, this ain't real over here. Go ahead.
Into the hand of the Assyrians, upon whom she doted. These discovered her nakedness. They took her sons and her daughters, and slew her with the sword. And she became famous among women, for they had executed judgment upon her. And when her sister Aholibah saw this, she was more corrupt in her inordinate love than she, and in her whoredoms more than her sister in her whoredoms. She doted upon the Assyrians, her neighbors, captains and rulers clothed most gorgeously, horsemen riding upon horses, all of them desirable young men. Then I saw that she was defiled, that they took both one way, and that she increased her whoredoms. For when she saw men portrayed upon the wall, the images of the Chaldeans portrayed with vermilion.
Right. These are the images. When she saw the images of the men portrayed upon the wall, this would be our Facebook and Instagram. There are certain people that can't even have a decent relationship because they want Insta lover. See, they want a lover who look like the Instagram people. So they just going through. That's all they do all the time. They don't even have no phone and their thumbs just do this. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been doing it all day. And this is all they look. And all them Insta people look a certain way. Because you know they all got filters on them. So you fall in love with some people who not really real people. So then when you get a real person in front of you who has real life, real body, you know what I'm saying? They didn't buy none of those body parts. All those things do what they do. When they take them out of the holster, they fall. Okay? Then with those other things, with them fake body parts, you can take them out of the holster, but they still ready to shoot. All right? That's not real. That's not real. That's not real. But when you get accustomed to looking at these images, now it has directed what you desire because you've been looking at the wrong images too long. Now you got something real in front of you. You don't desire that because the images have reprogrammed your brain on what to like. Go ahead.
Verse 15. Girded with the girdles upon their loins, exceeding and dyed attire upon their heads, all of them princes to look to, after the manner of the Babylonians of Chaldea, the land of their nativity. And as soon as she saw them with her eyes, she doted upon them, and sent messengers unto them into Chaldea.
Right? She instant messaging. She got in their DM right there. Oh my goodness, that is wow. Man, he fine. Holla back. Okay. Go ahead.
And the Babylonians came to her into the bed of love, and they defiled her with their whoredom, and she was polluted with them, and her mind was alienated from them. So she discovered her whoredoms and discovered her nakedness. Then my mind was alienated from her, like as my mind was alienated from her sister. Yet she multiplied her whoredoms, in calling to remembrance the days of her youth, wherein she had played the harlot in the land of Egypt. For she doted upon their paramours, whose flesh is as the flesh of asses, and whose issue is like the issue of horses. Thus you called it to remembrance the lewdness of your youth, and bruising your teats by the Egyptians for the paps of your youth. Therefore, O Aholibah, thus says the Adonai Elohim, behold, I'll raise up your lovers against you, from whom your mind is alienated, and I'll bring them against you on every side.
I will raise up the very ones who you putting your attention in. Those are going to be the ones that I'm going to use to deal with you. Yahweh is even poetic in punishment. Go ahead.
That was it for that part.
That was it. Where you at? Where you?
Verse 22 is where I ended.
Verse 22. All right. Jump to 36.
Yahweh said moreover unto me, Son of man, will you judge Aholah and Aholibah? Yea, declare unto them their abominations, that they have committed adultery, and blood is in their hands. And with their idols have they committed adultery, and have also caused their sons, whom they have bared unto me, to pass for them through the fire to devour them. Moreover, this they have done unto me. They have defiled my sanctuary in the same day, and have profaned my Sabbaths. For when they had slain their children to their idols, then they came the same day into my sanctuary to profane it. And lo, thus have they done in the midst of mine house. And furthermore, that you have sent for men to come from far, unto whom a messenger was sent. And lo, they came, for whom you did wash yourself.
All right, now look, this is, remember now, Yahweh said he's a jealous Elohim, right? Now he's watching this, his wife. But look at what she did. All right. For whom you did what?
Wash yourself. Painted your eyes.
She don't put on makeup.
And decked yourself with ornaments.
So he's like, so you got to consider now, put a man in this situation, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Your woman putting on, you know what I'm saying, these clothes, and she got on her get 'em girl dress. She got on the get 'em girl, and you like, where the hell you going?
You don't put on your get them girl dress. I know that dress. I remember when I met you having that. You got them, girl. No, no, this ain't gonna work right now. This is what Yahweh got to look at. He said, "Oh, look at her getting all pretty. She done painted her face." Go ahead.
And satteth upon a stately bed, and a table prepared before it, whereupon you have set mine incense and mine oil. And a voice of a multitude being at ease was with her. And with the men of the common sort were brought Sabaeans from the wilderness, which put bracelets upon their hands, and beautiful crowns upon their heads. Then said I unto her that was old in adulteries, will they now commit whoredoms with her, and she with them? Yet they went in unto her, as they go in unto a woman that plays the harlot. So went they in unto Aholah and unto Aholibah, the lewd women.
Now, when we look at some of these things, the television shows that they have presented with us helps us go into these things. You know, we might look at something that looks innocent. You know, that wife swap is just, you know, the show where, you know, people learn to live the life of somebody else. But you got to go back and do a little bit of digging, and you find out, oh, no, these people were that kind of strange. No, they real wife swapping. Okay? This is not just a TV show. These people are into some different type of things. And little by little, all of the things that they want us to deal with, if you pay attention, they're going to put it on their programs. There used to be a time that you couldn't see any LGBTQ, any of that. You didn't see any of that. Now, you can't turn on TV without it. So they're letting us know what they want us to be okay with. You'll be watching a program that has nothing to do with one thing, and then that thing pop up in the middle of the show. You like, man, this is a car show. I was supposed to be watching a carburetor be rebuilt. Why in the hell are they holding hands at the carburetor? No, I'm trying to watch a carburetor, but those two are definitely fuel injected. You know what I'm saying? This is not what it is I'm supposed to be watching. Why is that even on this program? That don't even fit. But they let you know what they want you to deal with. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 16.
Again the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus says the Adonai Yah unto Jerusalem, Your birth and your nativity is of the land of Canaan. Your father was an Amorite, and your mother an Hittite.
Yahweh can hit you hard. He's like, wait a minute, now what's this word you saying? What was the birth of Israel? It was called Canaan land before. You ever wonder where would we be as a people if Canaan wasn't wicked in the land? Who would we be? Because he took the land from them. What if they had gotten in the land and had been righteous? Do we ever even think about any of that? While we're in the midst of our pep rallying? Go ahead.
And as for your nativity, in the day you was born, your navel was not cut, neither was you washed in water to supple you. You was not salted at all, nor swaddled at all. None I pitied you to do any of these unto you, to have compassion upon you. But you was cast out into the open field to the loathing of your person in the day that you was born.
See, we forget how Yahweh found us. After a while, we think that we was always like this. See, we forget all the mess that we was in when he decided to say, you know what? I want you to hear something. We was out walking in the world covered in our blood. See, we forget that after a little while. Then we get all brand new and we forget. But be careful because he will remind us. Go ahead.
And when I passed by you and saw you polluted in your own blood.
I saw you polluted in your own blood. We done forgot what we were doing when we first heard the word. Go ahead.
I said unto you when you was in your blood, live. Yes, I said unto you when you was in your blood, live. I have caused you to multiply as the bud of the field, and you have increased and waxen great, and you are come to excellent ornaments. Your breasts are fashioned, and your hair is grown, wherein you was naked and bare.
Right.
Now when I passed by you and looked upon you, behold, your time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over you and covered your nakedness.
I spread my covering over you and covered your nakedness. We forget that. Go ahead.
Yes, I swear unto you and entered into a covenant with you, says the Adonai Elohim, and you became mine. Then washed I you with water. Yes, I thoroughly washed away your blood from you, and I anointed you with oil. I clothed you also with broidered work, and shod you with badger skin, and I girded you about with fine linen, and I covered you with silk.
Right. Once you became mine, then the honor that I have has now been bestowed upon you. But after a while, we begin to think that the honor is our own. That's his honor. But you get to walk in it if you do what you're supposed to do. Go ahead.
I decked you also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon your hands, and a chain on your neck. And I put a jewel on your forehead, and earrings in your ears, and a beautiful crown upon your head. Thus was you decked with gold and silver. Your raiment was of fine linen and silk, and broidered work. You did eat fine flour and honey and oil.
These are all the things. He's dealing with the setup of the tabernacle. He's dealing with the offerings. He's dealing with all of these things. I found you polluted in your blood, and I gave you all of these things. The honor that you have is not of yourself. Somehow we miss that. We think it's our honor. It's his. Go ahead.
And you was exceeding beautiful, and you did prosper into a kingdom. And your renown went forth from among the heathen for your beauty.
All right, see, now we got some fame now. This is where things starts to go downhill. Go ahead.
For it was perfect through my comeliness, which I had put upon you.
My comeliness, not your own. Go ahead.
Says the Adonai. But you did trust in your own beauty.
You know what? There we go. There we go. This is us. Go ahead.
And played the harlot because of your renown, and poured out your fornications on everyone that passed by. His it was.
Right. Well, none of those people looking at you before my comeliness was placed upon you. Go ahead.
And of your garments you did take, and decked your high places with divers colors, and played the harlot thereupon. The like things shall not come, neither shall it be so. You have also taken your fair jewels of my gold and of my silver, which I had given you, and made it to yourself images of men, and did commit whoredom with them. And took your broidered garments, and covered them, and you have set mine oil and my incense before them.
Check this out. And you took your broidered garments. I gave you these beautiful garments. But you hid those. You put something on top of it. Go ahead.
My meat also which I gave you, fine flour and oil and honey, wherewith I fed you, you have even set it before them for a sweet savor. And thus it was, says the Adonai. Moreover, you have taken your sons and your daughters, whom you have borne unto me, and these have you sacrificed unto them to be devoured. Is this of your whoredoms a small matter? That you have slain my children, and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them? And in all your abominations and your whoredoms, you have not remembered the days of your youth, when you was naked and bare, and was polluted in your blood.
You don't remember any of that. See? We don't remember any of those things. We don't remember when our house was broken up. We don't remember when we was trying to get something together. Once we get a few things, now we all brand new. Now we don't remember Yahweh, and we think that the honor that we have is the honor of ourselves. That ain't yours. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after all your wickedness, woe, woe unto you, says the Adonai Yah, that you have also built unto you an eminent place, and have made you an high place in every street. You have built your high place at every head of the way, and have made your beauty to be abhorred, and have opened your feet to everyone that passed by, and multiplied your whoredoms.
Right. We'll worship anything. Folks will invite us to things that we don't have nothing to do with, and we'll partake in it. Hey, it's we gonna keep St. Patrick's Day. We loaded up one went and bought all kind of green stuff. Got us a little leprechaun outfit. Got a little fake pot of gold. We don't know nothing about none of these things. We'll keep anything. All they got to tell us is, oh, it's pajama day. What? I remember a time, man, you didn't catch no grown people outside in their pajama. Man, this is a sick, twisted group of people. Folk will be all the way in the store shopping with their pajamas on, looking at you like you crazy.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're in your drawers. On aisle 6. What is wrong with you? Let me tell you something, man. Pajamas not meant to be sturdy. So, if somebody was going to force you, you have really already done half the job for them. And if you're in the wrong circle of people, they play games like that. They just come behind you and just yank those down. Ain't nothing gonna keep them up. Because they're not supposed to be on outside your house. Pajamas are only made sturdy enough to go from the bathroom to your bedroom. That's the sturdiest. That's the best pajamas that they made. The best one, I'm talking about the most expensive pair out there, are only sturdy enough from your bedroom to the bathroom. You go too far down the hall and you might have some problems. But yet we got folk 15 miles down the road in their pajamas. There's something seriously wrong. We're seeing the images of this, and it's becoming normal. It's not normal. Go ahead, bro.
Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 26. You have also committed fornication with the Egyptians, your neighbors, great of flesh, and have increased your whoredoms to provoke me to anger. Behold, therefore, I have stretched out my hand over you, and have diminished your ordinary food, and delivered you onto the will of them that hate you.
So first Yahweh took the water. Now he done took the food. Now, you got to back up now. This is where sometimes the perception of things can be real difficult. Now, he says Aholah and Aholabah were both sisters and they both was his, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. It says if he take another, he may not diminish her food. Now, when he diminished the food right here, do you then go to him and say, oh no, you took a second one, so you can't diminish her food? But she has played the whore. Now, how do you perceive what you're looking at when you might be looking at something, but you don't have all of the knowledge of what's actually happening? Do we ask or do we just go to a conclusion? Israel normally goes to a conclusion. What we should do, excuse me, boss, we don't do that. We We just develop a conclusion instead of asking. Because he tell you exactly he don't really seem to be bashful about what he's doing and why. So my guess is if we had asked him, he would have told us. Go ahead.
The daughters of the Philistines, which are ashamed of your lewd way. You have played the whore also with the Assyrians, because you was unsatiable. Yes, you have played the harlot with them, and yet could not be satisfied. You have moreover multiplied your fornication in the land of Canaan unto Chaldea, and yet you have not been satisfied, and yet you was not satisfied herewith.
You were not satisfied. So we then see that when these things take place, he will most definitely remove his honor. That part we can go and see. How this then gets interesting is when he then puts his honor among men. Let's go to Acts 23. That's all I want to go read in that. I want to go to Acts chapter 23. And we're going to read verses 1 through 5.
Acts chapter 23 and verse 1. And Saul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before Elohim until this day.
Now, they did not like this statement, right? They did not like this statement. They felt like he was exalting himself. Go ahead.
And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth.
So he get smacked in the mouth. They didn't like his statement. Go ahead.
Then said Saul unto him, Elohim shall smite you, you whited wall. For sitteth you to judge me after the law, and commandeth me to be smitten contrary to the law?
Now, in the assessment, he says that the law and how they dealt with it was incorrect. Okay? So he automatically uttered this after he got smacked in the mouth. Go ahead.
And they that stood by said, Revile you Elohim's high priest?
Now he realizes who it was he talked to. Now, even though he believes that he's right, go ahead.
Then said Saul, I knew not, brethren, that he was the high priest. For it is written, You shall not speak evil of the ruler of your people.
So even though he believed that he was right, when it was stated who that individual was, he stepped back. What happened? He realizes that the person that has that job has honor. He's carrying honor that doesn't even belong to him. He did not want to defile that honor. Yahweh said that he found Dawid a man after his own heart. He said, I love him. And I'm going to already anointed him king. But so was Saul. And when Dawid had the opportunity, his folks saying, man, let me go ahead and take his head off. We can go ahead and kill him right now. I will not put my hand on an anointed man of Yahweh. Why? He got honor on him. I'm not defiling that. See, there's some things that we zoom right past, but we don't watch. No. Yahweh gonna have to kill his own servant. I'm not doing that one. I'm not doing that one. Yahweh spoke against him, then Yahweh gonna make it happen. I'm not doing that. That is very interesting. But let us hit a conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 2. 2 Kings chapter 2. And we're going to read verses 11 through 24. So what's happening before this is when there is a transferring of power between Elijah and Elisha. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan.
So now there has now been a transfer of power at this point. It was known that Elohim was about to take Elijah. So this transfer of power is expected. But after Yahweh does that, he also lets some things happen so that people will understand that that power has transferred. Go ahead.
And he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and smote the waters, and said, where is Yahweh Elohim of Elijah? And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. And when the sons of the prophets which were to view at Jericho saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah does rest on Elisha. And they came to meet him, and bowed themselves to the ground before him. And they said unto him, behold now, there be with your servants 50 strong men. Let them go, we pray you, and seek your master, lest peradventure the spirit of Yahweh has taken him up, and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. And he said, you shall not send. And when they urged him till he was ashamed, he said, send.
Now this is not what he wanted. This is, they have urged him till they have really gotten on his nerve. This is the same thing that got Samson. He just get urged till he agree. Go ahead.
They sent therefore 50 men, and they sought 3 days, but found him not. And when they came again to him, for he tarried at Jericho, he said unto them, did I not say unto you, go not? And the men of the city said unto Elisha, behold, I pray you, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my master sees, but the water is not, and the ground barren. And he said, bring me a new cruse, and put salt therein. And they brought it to him. And he went forth unto the spring of the waters, and cast the salt in there, and said, thus saith Yahweh, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him.
Little children also will be young people as well when they mention this. But keep reading.
And said unto him, go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head.
So they are now mocking the person who has the honor of Elohim. So this is how we can get ourselves into some mess. Go ahead.
And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of Yahweh. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria.
There were some that recognized that the honor of Elohim was amongst this man. When you read this, it will tell you, and this is the part where it gets, cloudy with men. The spirit of Elijah. Let me tell you something. The spirit of Elijah that they said, this is the same spirit or angel who has that power. It is not the spirit of the man. It is the spirit of Yahweh that he allowed to be upon the man. That's what we're dealing with. And sometimes people get that misconstrued. All right. But that power was very evident in the fact that even mocking one who had that honor could end up being very, very bad. Now, it is easy for us to read this book and see the power and honor that belongs to Elohim. The problem is that we are not going to encounter Elohim in a face-to-face encounter. What we are going to encounter are men and women that Yahweh has used to perform a task. What adds to the difficulty is that oftentimes the mission is one that ruffles feathers. When feathers are ruffled, words are spoken. Those words are aimed at the individuals we seek, but they will be accounted unto the entity that we don't see. We must remember that it is written, be careful. Some of you have entertained angels unawares. Now, when they approached and mocked Elisha, was it the angel that gave that power? Remember, it was told Moshe, be careful. I send an angel to lead you in the way. Don't provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgression. He will not pardon you. He says, be careful. You have entertained angels unawares. So when they decided that they were going to mock this man who had this honor, but they entertaining an angel, didn't know that that's who they were mocking and got dealt with. Let us consider all of these things, because when it's time for the children of Israel to be regathered, we don't know what all manner of spiritual beings may be around us to gather us. Let us learn how to operate in the presence of holiness, lest we be consumed believing that we are just being nasty to a man or a woman, but those people have been given a job to do, and the angel is pushing them, and then that angel pushes back at us. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.